We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India welcomes the release of 8 Indian nationals detained in Qatar. 7 out of the 8 of them have returned to India. After France, Mauritius and Sri Lanka to get UPI connectivity, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with heads of state of both countries to witness historic launch. RuPay card services will also be launched in Mauritius. In Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif's party, PMLN, and Bilawal Bhutto's PPP decides to work together. PMLN also secures support of PTI-backed independent Imran Khan's party to continue protest over poll rigging. And in tennis, India's Sumit Nagal scripts history by entering top 100 for first time in career to become a player ranked 98 in the world as champion of the ATP Chennai Open Challenger. Into the details now. In a big diplomatic win, Qatar released all 8 Indian nationals in its custody on Sunday. In its official statement, the Ministry of External Affairs welcomed the decision, saying the government of India welcomes the release of 8 Indian nationals working for the Dahara Global Company who were detained in Qatar. 7 out of 8 of them have returned to India. We appreciate the decision by the Amir of the State of Qatar to enable the release and homecoming of these nationals. And for more on this, we have our correspondent Amrit Pal with us. Well, Amrit, after a long wait, 8 veterans of the Indian Navy who were sentenced to death in Qatar were released by Doha, a major diplomatic triumph for India.
That's right, Lipakshi. It is a major diplomatic triumph for India of getting these 8 Navy, former Navy personnel released in the last case. The case went through various proofs and trials. For about 18 months, the Ministry of External Affairs pursued the case with the courts in Qatar and with the Amir of Qatar, and 7 of these nationals are back in India. They arrived in the wee hours this morning. One national is still, Indian national is still in Qatar. He shall be brought back very soon. There are some formalities being done. So, he's been gotten back. He should be back in a day or two. Now, this case, pertains to an espionage case, charges of which, details of which were not made public, but they were arrested in 2022 on charges of espionage in a submarine case in Qatar. Then, last year, in October, the Qatar court sentenced them to death, and at that time the Indian government had responded by saying that the ruling of the court was shocking and India would explore all legal options. After that, it was commuted to a long prison term, but due to sustained diplomatic efforts by the Indian government, they were finally released late last night, and they traveled to India. So yes, indeed, it's a diplomatic triumph. And as we've heard, these nationals, once they arrived, they thanked the government of India, especially Prime Minister Modi, for bringing this up at the highest level with the Amir of Qatar. And this could not have been possible unless the intervention of the Amir of Qatar, because according to Qatari law, after the court sentences them, it is either up to a higher court, as it is in India, or up to the Amir of Qatar, who has the ultimate power to order a pardon for them. So clearly, this has been taken up at the highest, highest level, and because of which we see that these nationals, Indian nationals, have been released. And let me tell you, this release a rare release, and they are back in India.
Well, Amrit, just hold on with us while we just listened to the upon arrival in India, how the nationals expressed happiness and thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his personal intervention.
Without the intervention of Prime Minister Modi, it wouldn't be. आज हम आपके सामने खड़े नहीं हो रहे होते.
I think we are grateful to the government of India, the bottom of our heart, for the every effort that has been made, and this day wouldn't have been possible without it. Grateful indeed. Thank you so much.
Well, nationals very happy there. Amrit, what does it say about the diplomatic relations between the two countries after the PM and the Emir of Qatar especially met recently?
Well, the diplomatic relations between India and Qatar are very deep, and they are good. India shares a very good relation with Qatar, not just pertaining to this case. The two countries have trade ties. The two countries have civilizational ties. There is a lot of Indian diaspora working there in Qatar. So they share very friendly relations. But as I was saying earlier also, that in this particular case, the kind of diplomatic pursuance that India has done, and at the diplomatic level, and providing legal assistance to our nationals who were former Navy personnel, and but now later working with a private company, Al Dahara. It speaks of the dogged pursuance at various levels by the government of India at the diplomatic channels, but most importantly, it required a political push, and that is why you see the release of these nationals. And let me tell you the kind of case it was. It was an espionage case related to a submarine. It is very, very rare that people are released, that those sentenced are released. These Indian nationals were convicted by their court of first instance. So clearly it is at the insistence of India at the highest political levels that we've seen this come through. Lepakshi?
Thank you so much, Amrit, for that information. And now moving on, India's Unified Payment Interface, or UPI services, will be launched in Mauritius and Sri Lanka today. Besides this, RuPay card services will be launched in Mauritius. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of Mauritius, Pravind Jugnauth, and Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe will witness the historic launch via video conferencing. The launch will enable availability of UPI settlement services for Indian nationals travelling to Sri Lanka and Mauritius, as well as for Mauritian nationals travelling to India. Further, the extension of the RuPay card services in Mauritius will enable Mauritian banks to issue cards based on RuPay mechanism in Mauritius and facilitate usage of RuPay card for settlements both in India and Mauritius. Given India's robust cultural and people-to-people linkages with Sri Lanka and Mauritius, the launch will benefit a wide cross-section of people through a faster and seamless digital transaction experience and enhanced digital connectivity between both the countries. And in the state of Bihar, Nitish Kumar led National Democratic Alliance government to face the floor test on Monday. On the first day of the assembly session, NDA government will prove the majority claim of the government in the state assembly. A series of meetings were held by the leaders of the political parties to thwart any possibility of defection. Parties are trying to flock together, the MLAs, to rule out the threat of poaching from their rival outfits. National Democratic Alliance leaders have said that they will confidently prove the majority in the House of 243 members. On the other hand, the opposition is tight-lipped over its strategy in the House. And Secretary General of ASEAN, Kau Kim Horn, arrived at India's capital New Delhi on Sunday evening on a 5-day visit. This is the first official visit by Kau to India since he assumed charge in January 2023. During the visit, Secretary General of ASEAN is scheduled to have meetings with India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and other dignitaries in Delhi. He will also deliver a lecture at Sapru House Lecture in New Delhi, and in addressing at address gathering at Nalanda University in Rajgir. The Nalanda University leads the ASEAN-India network of universities. Kao will visit Mahabodhi Temple Complex, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, also in Goa. Engagement with ASEAN is an important pillar of India's Act East policy, which has entered into its 10th year in 2024, as well as its vision for the wider Indo-Pacific. India supports the priorities set by Lao PDR in its ASEAN chairmanship for the year 2024 under the theme ASEAN Enhancing Connectivity and Resilience. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. In preparation for the global promotion of the upcoming Mahakumbh 2025 in Prayagraj of India's Uttar Pradesh, the state government is planning to organize a social media conclave. This initiative involves collaborating with both governmental and non-governmental agencies to reach a wide audience for the Mahakumbh 2025. The step has been taken to involve the non-governmental agencies also in the preparation. The two-day kite festival concludes in Mangaluru of South India's Karnataka. International kite flyers from 13 countries such as Thailand, Ukraine, Greece, Estonia, Sweden and others participated in the festival. The ideal conditions of good breeze during January and February months make it a perfect time to organize kite festivals along the coastline of India's Karnataka. In South India's Tamil Nadu, Swarnamurteswarar Temple, a 350-year-old temple dedicated to Lord Shiva, witnessed the long-awaited revival of its chariot festival after 17 years. In the past years, various reasons have hindered the chariot festival, despite efforts to organize it. With a successful trial run, hopes are high for the resumption of the chariot festival. In India's Himalayan state of Himachal Pradesh, Tibetans perform group circle dance during second day of Losar celebration. The Losar festival, also known as Tibetan New Year, is a religious celebration. It is observed for a period of 15 days. The centuries-old custom of Losar celebrations continue to foster communal bonds and provide joy to the people. Well, still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Donald Trump has until the end of today, that is February 12, to file for appealing his immunity ruling. Stay with us as we tell you ahead why Odisha's Golden Beach looks all the more beautiful and serene.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, the three main political parties in Pakistan intensified their efforts for the formation of a coalition government after the country faced a hung parliament after general elections marred by allegations of rigging. The Pakistan People's Party has agreed to be a part of a coalition government on the condition that Bilawal Bhutto Zardari will be made the Prime Minister. Nawaz Sharif-led Pakistan Muslim League. Nawaz managed to secure the support of an independent candidate backed by Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. Meanwhile, Imran Khan's party, along with some others, held protest in parts of Pakistan amid allegations of widespread vote rigging targeting Khan's political party and other nationalist groups. They have vowed to continue peaceful protest. And moving on, a narrowly divided U.S. Senate moved closer to passing a $95.34 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan on Sunday, showing undiminished bipartisanship despite growing opposition from Republican hardliners and Donald Trump. The Democratic-led Senate cleared the latest procedural hurdle and moved the foreign aid measure further on towards an ultimate vote in the coming days. Well, former U.S. President Donald Trump has until the end of today, that is 12th of February, to file an appeal to the country's top court against last year's ruling, which rejected his claim of immunity from criminal prosecution during his time in office. Our U.S. correspondent Jagrati Deve has more.
The clock is ticking for Donald Trump's legal team. They're arguing that the former president has presidential immunity regarding charges that he faces where he's been accused of trying to subvert the results of the 2020 general election. Those claims were thrown out by a federal court here in Washington, D.C. last Tuesday. That same court also set a February the 12th deadline for Donald Trump to appeal that ruling at the U.S. Supreme Court, which could potentially delay the start of a trial even further. Now, Donald Trump faces 4 criminal cases, which he is arguing are politically motivated in an effort to damage his re-election campaign. But a recent CNN poll is saying that most Americans want a verdict on the election subversion charges before they go to vote in this year's election. And that same poll is also saying that most people think that Donald Trump is likely to pardon himself should he retake the White House this November. In Washington, Jagrati Dave reporting for DD India.
Well, hundreds of protesters from around the country flocked to a Texas border town on Saturday to vent over illegal immigration and show support for former President Donald Trump. At the rally, Cumado, Texas, vendors sold shirts, flags and hats promoting the Republican former president, while conservative speakers criticized the border policies of U.S. President Joe Biden. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has clashed with Biden over the state's aggressive tactics to deter crossers, including troops, concerns of wire and a floating buoy barrier in the Rio Grande. The number of migrants arrested trying to cross the U.S.-Mexico border has climbed to record highs since Biden took office in 2021. While migrant arrests spiked in December, they've dropped steeply in the past month. A North Korean state media said the country has developed a new ballistic control system for a multiple rocket launcher along with controllable shells. It said the Academy of Defense Science, which oversees the country's missile development, conducted a ballistic control test firing of 240 mm caliber controllable multiple rocket launcher shells. And Finland's former Prime Minister Alexander Stubb won Finland's presidential election on Sunday, defeating Liberal Green Party member Pekka Haavisto. Alexander Stubb will also be responsible for its foreign policy, including the recently approved NATO member's stance towards Russia, and will serve as Finland's commander-in-chief. Stubb will replace Sauli Niinisto, who is retiring after 2 6-year terms. Stubb, a member of the mainstream centre-right National Coalition Party, beat former Foreign Minister Pekka Haavisto of the centre-left Green Party in the runoff vote after securing 51.6% of the votes against Haavisto's 48.4%. And in Germany, around 100,000 people gathered in Munich on Sunday, holding up protest banners and lights in protest against right-wing extremism, anti-Semitism and the far-right alternative for Germany. Entering the fifth week of nationwide protest against the rise of the far right in Germany, organizers had called for participants to create a sea of light for democracy. Munich Mayor Dieter Reiter joined the thousands of protesters flocking to the Theresienwiese in solidarity with the light demonstration. The AfD's success has stoked concern among Germany's mainstream parties who fear it could sweep 3 state elections in eastern Germany in September. And Trinidad and Tobago is considering declaring a national emergency after a huge oil spill from a ship that ran aground and overturned this week. At least 15 kilometers of the Tobago's southwestern coast have been affected. Over 1,000 volunteers have now joined government staff to clean up the spill. Trinidad's government plans to launch new bidding round for deep water blocks this year. The spill is currently at level 2, meaning the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management believes that the country can deal with the spill. Well, this week, Iceland woke up to yet another day of fire as towering fountains of lava lit up the dark morning sky. Iceland is no stranger to volcanoes. It is one of the most volcanically active places in the world. This time, the evacuated town of Grindavik was spared, but the molten rock still wrought havoc, engulfing a pipe that provides heat and hot water to thousands living in the area and cutting off a road to the Blue Lagoon tourist attraction. And news from around the world now. A self-driving taxi in San Francisco was set on fire after being vandalized and set on fire by fireworks. Waymo, Alphabet's autonomous driving unit, is expanding its driverless service in Los Angeles, but faces resistance from lawmakers and citizens who fear the vehicles are unproven and pose a safety risk. A tree fell onto a roller coaster at a theme park in eastern Spain, causing 14 injuries, 2 of which were serious. On the 11th of February, the accident occurred due to strong winds near the Tomahawk Ride, a popular children's roller coaster in the Costa Dorada region. The park statement stated that the incident occurred due to strong winds. An elephant was chased by South African village residents after escaping Kruger National Park. A video showed people chasing and throwing objects at the elephant while a helicopter hovered overhead. Authorities put the elephant down. A festival in Russia's Tatarstan Republic featured dozens of teams competing to create the best homemade sled that can survive a steep ramp. The competition featured various shapes and sizes, including giant swans, chickens and huts. The top prize was shared between the town musicians of Bremen and the White Angels of War, featuring 2 nurses and 2 wounded soldiers in a white sledge. And on to sports, India's Sumit Nagal scripted another remarkable feat on Sunday, becoming the 10th Indian and the first in 5 years to break into the top 100 of ATP men's single rankings. Nagal achieved the landmark win in the Chennai Open title, an ATP Challenger event in the South Indian city. Sumit Nagal, seeded second, defeated top seed Luca Nardi of Italy 6-1, 6-4 in an hour and 41 minutes. Having braved a shoulder pain to reach the finals of a Challenger event for the 8th time, Nagal won his 5th Challenger title and a second one at home. Nagal will move to number 98 in the men's single charts on Monday. Sumit Nagal was ranked 121 in the men's singles ranking before the start of the Chennai Open. He advanced closer to the top 100 after making an inspired run to the second round of the Australian Open. And India suffered yet another heartbreak, and Australia lifted their 4th ICC Under-19 World Cup, beating the boys in blue on Sunday in the finals at Benoni in South Africa. Australia thumped India with a dominating 79-run win in a rather one-sided final. After setting India a record 254 to win, the Australian Pacers steamrolled their Saharans brigade of youngsters, blowing them away for 174, with Mahali Bedmans taking 3 for 15 and Raf Macmillan's 3 for 43 leading the way. India's chase simply never took off. After losing Arshin Kulkarni in the 3rd over, Adarsh Singh and Bashir Khan tried to steady the innings with a 37-run partnership, but they never got the momentum. Mushi departed after scoring 22 runs. Captain Uday Saharan scored 8 runs, while India's hero in semi-final with Sachin Das could only put 9 runs on the board. Earlier for Australia, Harjit Singh smashed 55 runs from 64 balls, while skipper Hug Wigben scored 48. With this triumph, Australia's under-19 batch of 2024 now joins the class of 1988, 2002 and 2010. Well, the pristine Golden Beach in India's Odisha has earned the coveted Blue Flag certification and eco-label for world's cleanest beaches. Immerse yourself in the spectacular beauty of this tranquil haven where sun, sand and serenity converge. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.